If Project 2025 was not a big deal, then why is Donald Trump pretending not to know anything about it? Why is Ben Shapiro, the leading right-wing media guy, also playing the same game? He literally said to Congress in a hearing, he hasn't really looked at it, and of course he plays the games of its 900 pages. I'm sure he's already aware of some of the key and most controversial bullet points of the plan. You don't have to know every single page. So Ben Shapiro is being disingenuous, pretending not to know about it. If it's not a big deal, why hide from it, right? If it's just some policy changes, whatever, why not just say what it is? Why wouldn't Trump be saying the Democrats are lying and trying to make it look like it's scary, but it's actually not a big deal? Yeah, it's actually popular stuff or whatever it is. Why would he be instead trying to hide from it? Why wouldn't Ben Shapiro be promoting it? I mean, it's a major conservative agenda. He's supposedly a conservative guy, right? So why isn't he doing a facts video showing, actually it's pretty cool? Why instead does he go to Congress and say, well, I don't really know? So Donald Trump and Ben Shapiro don't want us to know what Project 2025 is really about. And so does the Revolutionary Blackout Network. Curious.
IHQ Princess Joe says Project 2025 is a psyops waged by the Democratic Party on the voters who are thoroughly disillusioned with the Democrats, causing them to funding neo-Nazis and genociders so they can dupe people to vote for them. Thank you so very much for that. We have Apnarg says, hasn't Project 2025 been happening for decades with Patriot Act, NSA spying on us, fake wars, and killing whistleblowers? We're going to talk about it.
For the record, Project 2025 is essentially an aggressive, conservative takeover of the American government. Speak a little bit more about the details of it, but the idea that this is a Democrat plan, I mean, this is blue MAGA, right? A bunch of people stormed the Capitol, clearly some Trump supporters. I mean, many of them well known in the Trump supporter community. And they claim, oh, it wasn't Trump supporters, it was Antifa. Project 2025 was created by the Heritage Foundation, a massive conservative organization responsible for doing things like making our Supreme Court ideological towards the right wing. The Democrats are frauds, they're liars, they're bait and switchers, but hardcore conservatives, they are not. I would say the Democratic Party might be center-right. So it's not that they don't have a conservative bone in them, but the idea that the Democrats are part of an organization that seeks to destroy them is absolute lunacy. Just like the idea that a bunch of left-wingers went and stormed the Capitol to stop a liberal president from being elected. MAGA. It doesn't just come in.
Okay. Skippy McGee. Now, sorry, go ahead.
The best way that I can say it is that, is it real? Yes, it's real. Is it good news? No, it's not good news. At least I don't consider it to be good news. However, some of these things have already been done. If you look at Project, we'll get into it, but some of these things are already happening. And
is it a good thing? No. However, fear not. These things have already been done. Of what relevance have already been done? How is that relevant? So what? I mean, that's good for the things that have already been done, because if they've already been done and we survived and okay, so you've successfully whitewashed those things, although you haven't specified what those things are. But what about the other things? It's like people are going around saying that the Debate Me channel has this crazy 10-point plan that he's going to use to destroy America. And you say, people make a big deal about it, but you know what? Some of those things that he's proposing have already been done. Oh, okay. Like what? What's the relevance to that? Who cares?
A lot of people just don't have the time to do the research because a lot of people are working and a lot of people don't do what we do with independent media. But
so that presumes that you have done the research, right? You're saying a lot of people don't spend the time to do the research. So clearly you've done the research, so you know what's in Project 2025. And as a real leftist,
if everyone had time to look at what Project 2025 is, you'll realize that some of these things have already been implemented, and the Democratic Party they're exaggerating about part of this. So that's right. What's important for people to know. It doesn't mean we're not here to tell you it's not real or that it's good news. It's not good news. It's bad news. It is real, but the Democratic Party is exaggerating in it and pretending.
Notice how clever she is in her wording. She again repeats that some of these things have been done already, which is a meaningless statement, but yet she feels the need to repeat it. Now, the effect of saying this is going to be whitewashing, right? Some people may have concerns. I'm hearing some scary things, and she's saying, oh, don't worry. Some of these things have already been done. Don't worry. Some of these things have already been done. Oh, okay. Oh, it's something that's been, it's nothing new. Okay. But then, talking out of two sides of her mouth, she says that it's not a good thing. Like, she's being very, very passive, right? She does not want to frame it in any way that would lead her audience to take it seriously, right? But she doesn't want people to accuse her of not admitting that it's a bad thing. So she's using this. It's like Sarah Palin talking about January 6th, and she says some goofball did some things, right? She doesn't want to say the words of like attacking police, smashing windows, like riot, right? That's what she's doing right here. For some reason, she feels the need to protect Project 2025, while at the same time she wants to protect herself from being accused of, exactly what I'm accusing her of, which is whitewashing 2025. So she puts in that, and the same thing Donald Trump does, right? He uses the word peacefully, says a lot of violent rhetoric, right? But then he says the word peacefully, and then what do all his apologists do? Oh, but he said peacefully, right? So anyone who likes this channel, hearing my commentary, will say, no, she didn't say it was a good thing. She said it was a bad thing. Listen to the passive language. It's like a woman looks at a guy that she's really not attracted to, and she doesn't want to come out and just say the truth. So she says something like, well, you're not ugly. What? I'm not ugly. It's not good news. She wants to focus on the Democrats exaggerating. Why not? Why does everything have to be about the Democrats? This is a program being created by conservatives. The right wing, now these same people would complain about how our government is right wing, the Democratic Party is right wing. A lot of these politicians, they're actually conservatives. They're not left. People say they're left wing, right? And here's a plan to plunge this country even more right wing. And these supposed real leftists are more interested in downplaying it, right? So the right wing is trying to make an assault on our country to push it further to the right. And left-wingers feel the need to protect them, to protect the mission, right? The right-wingers don't want too many people to realize how bad this thing is so they can be able to implement it, right? So they can push this country more right-wing. And here are supposed left-wingers helping them in that mission of concealing things, right? Now, rightfully so, the weak, corrupt Democrats are absolutely using this as training wheels, right? Because it's a powerful thing. Look at the candidate that they have, Joe Biden. They need something. Project 2025 is a lot, right? But again, everything in life is not about the Democrats, unless you're a right-wing channel in which your entire business is anti-liberal, right? So why is it not possible to have a discussion about Project 2025 that doesn't involve the Democrats, especially considering the Democrats are not the ones pushing for it? I mean, you even have a viewer that suggests that it's a Democrat plan, and you let that slide. You don't even push back and say, oh, well, no, okay, yeah, they're exaggerating, but it's not their plan. We looked into it, and it's Heritage Organization, and this is something different. No, they allow that comment to go through, and they just kind of, well, we're going to talk about it.
Like this has not happened. I can get to the Heritage Foundation later.
Well, I was about to get here really quick just to let people know that, yes, this is by the Heritage Foundation. So, there's more, that you actually went over on your channel as well. regarding this. So this is about Project 2025. And so it talks about, it says within the Biden administration half over. So it says, and with the immediate dangers inherent to one party rule in Washington behind us for now. This was, I think this is right after the midterms. It says it's past time to lay the groundwork for a White House more friendly to the right, like they aren't already. It says for decades, the left.
Exactly. So they are well aware of how right-leaning our government, and now they're about to make an all-out, massive assault. I mean, this is like a wet dream of an actual leftist. The idea, this is like, literally, this is what they're calling a revolution. The right wing is planning a revolution, their words. Again, we're watching the Revolutionary Blackout Network. This is RBN, the Revolutionary Blackout Network. And here is the right wing actually doing what they could only dream of doing. Can you imagine the idea of the leading Democratic candidate, or let's say the Green Party, or whichever party, let's say that they were actually the one that's running against Trump or something. Imagine that person had a left-wing agenda where they're going to wipe out all these, it's already right-wing, they were going to wipe out all these conservatives in the government, right? All these conservative, pretending to be liberals, right? And replace them with loyalists. So socialist communists. They were going to put socialists and communists all over the government, and they were going to shut down organizations in the government that the left wing doesn't like, right? And they had not Joe Biden, but someone who was actually going to fight and try to make a lot of these things happen, right? Imagine if this was happening on the left. This, we have been led to believe, would be a wet dream of these two people because they claim to be the real left. But if they're the real left, and what I just described would be an amazing, oh my goodness, put them in tears, then why would they be looking at the right wing actually doing a revolution? Tangible steps of doing a revolution, pushing towards being more conservative in the opposite direction of where they want the country to be. Why would they be looking at that and just being like, oh, it's not a big deal, some of this stuff has already been done before, and you know what, this is it's the Democrats doing this, and they're exaggerating, and and then now he's going to spend, look at all this time that they've spent, and we haven't really learned anything about Project 2025. Now he's going to read the first paragraphs, whatever they wrote on their page, rather than jump right into the core things that they want to do. What they want to do with Social Security. What do they want to do with abortion? What do they want to do with all these loyalists all over the government? How is this hiring process going? Right? Imagine the idea that supposed actual leftists are spending all this time. This is the very beginning of this thing. And a lot of people are not going to watch the full video, right? So they're prioritizing, focusing on what the Democrats are doing. They're exaggerating. And the fact that some of this stuff has been done before. Here's the amazing thing. When I saw in my feed that this channel was doing a video about Project 2025, instantly I said, let me go see if they're going to go and whitewash and downplay this thing. Because these people are in one of the most toxic businesses that we have in this country, American media. Mainstream media is really bad. CNN, MSNBC, trash. Most of our independent media takes the same partisan, biased model of pandering to their audience to an extreme, making them even worse. So I know that from this channel, because pretty much their business model mirrors the right-wing media, right? The right-wing media is not really right-wing. Right-wing media is anti-liberal media. That's what it really is. The business is in attacking liberals. That's all it is. Every day the liberals did something stupid. They're crazy. They've gone too far. The left has gone too far, right? And what do we find from Blue MAGA? The same content, right? Every day, Democrats. Look at the Democrats are doing. Oh, and these fake progressives. Oh, the left. leftists doing the left, they're not the real left, we're the real left. Oh, look what they're doing. Look at Majority Report. They're like mainstream media. They're elites. They're not in the streets, and we're doing the real stuff, Yeah. Come subscribe and watch our videos and donate. And Right. All right. So let's actually explore the top 10 potential impacts that would seek to downplay these concerns. And let's also discuss how long it might take to recover. So let's go ahead and get started. So one of the first things is privatization of Project 2025 aims to privatize public services like healthcare and education. This could lead to reduced access and increased inequality, making essential services unaffordable for many people. Now, the pushback might be that privatization has been happening for a while, but fully implementing it could exacerbate existing problems and make it nearly impossible to reverse. Recovering from this could take decades, as rebuilding public services and ensuring equitable access would require substantial policy change and public investment. The other thing is reduction of social welfare programs. Project 2025 plans to significantly cut social welfare programs. This could increase poverty and hardship, particularly for the most vulnerable populations who rely on food stamps, unemployment benefits, and affordable housing. These are all things that the supposed leftists actually care about and have been preaching about. And here is an attack to push us back potentially for decades in the opposite direction. So all the direct action and protesting and fundraising to accomplish whatever little things they've been able to accomplish, and now we're looking at a massive push in the opposite direction. And they want to instead talk about, the Democrats are exaggerating and, some of this stuff has been done before. Right. So while it's true that social programs have faced cuts before, a comprehensive reduction could dismantle safety nets that are crucial for many families. Restoring these programs could take 10 to 20 years, and some damage may be irreversible, especially if community support structure collapses. Project 2025 also talks about deregulation and corporate power. They want to deregulate industries, enhancing corporate power. A thing that a lot of leftists talk about online all the time, about corporate power, and these corporations and all capitalism, right? They're so against capitalism, but here they're making a major push to make that even more extreme. And the idea is, don't worry about it, it's just the Democrats. This could worsen labor conditions, increasing environmental degradation, and reduce corporate accountability. Now, they might say deregulation has been an ongoing issue, but intensifying it could lead to significant consequences that are difficult to mitigate. I mean, the idea that because some of this stuff may have been done before, so making it far worse is nothing to worry about. It's kind of like a guy says he's going to come and he wants to knock you the hell out, right? He wants to beat you to a pulp, right? And somebody says, don't worry about it, man. He's come and slapped us before. There's been many times where he's come and he's actually just randomly slapped us in the face for no reason. Okay, so because they've slapped you before, an act of violence, clear. Because they've done that before, being beaten to a pulp is now okay? Okay, I like that logic. Reversing deregulation might take several administrations, and environmental and social impacts could be felt for generations. So they're doing something that could affect us for generations, and our hardcore leftists are acting like Democrats. They are perfectly happy just sitting on the sidelines and making little YouTube videos talking about Democrats. Weakening of labor unions. Project 2025 aims to weaken labor unions. This would undermine workers' rights and reduce their bargaining power, leading to lower wages and poor working conditions. So they might push back and say labor unions have been under attack for years, but further weakening them could make recovery even harder, and labor rights more challenging to restore. And ironically, corrupt, bait and switch, weak Joe Biden, under his administration, there's been a lot of positive improvements for unions, right? I'm not supposed to say this, though, because, it's Biden and the Democrats. So because I acknowledge that the Democrats are frauds, I'm not a registered Democrat. I'll probably never register to be a Democrat. So because of that fact, I'm not allowed to acknowledge that they've actually been positive for labor unions, right? Instead, I'm supposed to focus on how much more they could have done. And I'm also supposed to ignore a great revolutionary push in the opposite direction coming from the right wing. Don't worry about it. It's just the Democrats fear-mongering. Rebuilding strong labor unions could take 15 to 25 years, depending on political will and public support. What kind of public support will the left have after they bent over and allowed the right wing to just have their way with them, right? A major assault on the left is happening, and the left is busy making content online. So if Project 2025 is successful, how will these people be able to unite and organize? Their credibility is already in the toilet. What's it going to look like if they sit by and allow this to happen? So after all the damage is done and people looking at them like, why were you busy making videos talking about the Democrats this and the Democrats that instead of organizing some kind of fight? And that's the thing about it. If they were real leftists, they won't be worried about what the Democrats are doing, what Democrats are exaggerating, right? Because they would be willing to actually be revolutionary. What would revolutionary look like? They would realize this is an attack on the left, right? So they will be right now organizing, hitting the streets, taking direct action, and doing a fight, not for the Democrats, not for the liberals, not to help the Democrats, because Democrats want to focus on No, who cares about them? Screw the Democrats, right? Who cares about them? This is supposed to be about your communities. This is supposed to be about you want the country to be better. You want to fight back against capitalism. And here is a push to making the country more capitalistic, more savage, more right-wing. And your response is, don't worry about it. It's all good, man. Right. And this is why we have Joe Biden as president in the first place, because this is what the left looks like. This is what the left looks like. And pushing, frauds like Jimmy Dore and people like Cornel West, who wanted to run under a party that was run by a sexual predator, right? Who is basically a washed up has-been at this point. That's who they want to put their focus on, because it looks good online, and their audience likes it. Oh yeah, Colonel West, yeah, he's a real deal, right? So of course that goes nowhere, and what does that leave us with? Joe Biden, a corpse. Instead of them organizing and creating real leaders to challenge the establishment, somebody who actually has a chance to win, this is what they do. And then if Project 2025 is successful, they're going to make a lot of money complaining about it, the thing that they let happen. Project 2025 wants to increase military spending. This diverts resources from social programs and could escalate international conflicts, impacting our community. Now, while military spending is always high, further increases could deepen the economic and social disparities. Shifting priorities from military to social spending could take multiple election cycles and significant public advocacy. And again, how are you going to do the advocacy? Who's going to support you? After they see how weak you are to sit by and let this happen, who is going to support you? Right. Erosion of civil liberties. Project 2025 aims to increase surveillance and restrict civil liberties. This could limit dissent and reduce democratic participation, making it harder to organize and advocate for our rights. Of course, they will say civil liberties. Expanding these measures could make it harder to reclaim freedoms. Again, just because they might have done some of this stuff before doesn't make it okay for them to do even more now in the future. Education reforms. They want to reform education by promoting privatization and standardized. They want to dismantle public health care programs like Medicare and Medicaid. Economic inequality. They want to implement conservative economic policies that could increase economic inequality. But don't worry, guys. They've already done some of this stuff before, and the Democrats, absolutely, I agree, are using this, taking advantage of this because they have a very weak candidate. So focus on that. Focus on what the Democrats are doing. Ignore the damage that Project 25 could bring, because, this is more of the same. It's more of the same, and we're okay with it. We're okay with status quo, right? So them trying to implement more of the same policies we've seen before is okay because we like it, right? We're real leftists, and real leftists like status quo. They like capitalism. They like all this stuff that they're going to increase even more in the future. That's the left-wing perspective. Or maybe just left-wing media. A very toxic business indeed.